Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Drux Milan Unboxing. Please give the channel a like and a subscribe if you deem it worthy. Also follow me at Drux Unboxing on Twitter. And you can look at my blog www.couchpotatofightguru.blogspot.com if you prefer the written format. I'm also a contributor and the South African correspondent for Bible of Boxing Ring Magazine. Now, Saturday, on the main event of the evening in Eddie Hearn's backyard of his mansion, a matchroom fight camp, we're going to have a big heavyweight fight, and it's for the WBC Interim Heavyweight Championship. You know, all the second tier belts that they have, and it is the UK heavyweight Dillian Whyte taking on the veteran Alexander Povetkin of Russia. Now, both these guys are familiar names. If we look at the heavyweight division, there's Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, and then also depending on how he's going to handle his defeat against Fury, there's the big puncher Deontay Wilder, and then after them, clearly above all the rest, we have Dillian Whyte. Now, he's a guy, if there ever was somebody who deserves a title shot, it's him. He's been jerked around forever by the WBC, and I think they've now finally said if he wins against Povetkin, the winner of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, which we think is going to happen in December, their third encounter, has to defend against him. And it's a well-deserved title shot. We all want to see Fury against Anthony Joshua, but Dillian Whyte deserves his shot, but he has a potential banana skin in front of him in Alexander Povetkin. Now, Povetkin is 40. He's no longer at his peak. And if we look at the long career of Alexander Povetkin, he was an Olympic gold medalist. Then he worked himself into the #1 contender position, you know, beating guys in an IBF tournament like Larry Donald, Eddie Chambers, Chris Bird. Eventually won the WBA regular belt from Ruslan Chagayev. And he basically kept on winning, and he got his title shot against Vladimir Klitschko in Russia. Probably the worst heavyweight title fight I've seen in a long time. Lots of clinching, but it didn't happen for him. You know, Klitschko won on points quite widely, and then he kept on going, and he staged quite a good comeback, knocking out guys like Carlos Takam, who's usually durable, Manuel Char, Johan de Hoopa, Mike Perez, heavyweights like that. Got himself in a #1 position again. Was going to fight Deontay Wilder, then positive for meldonium, and that fight was off, and eventually he got his title shot again against Anthony Joshua. Now, he gave a good account of himself. He nailed Joshua. The ref took it a stage that had him wobbly, but Joshua became the only man to knock out Alexander Povetkin, knocked him out and retained his title. Came back, his 2 fights removed from that. He beat the modern day Jimmy Young in terms of being a spoiler, Hughie Fury. Appointed him in his last fight in the UAE. He fought to a draw with another contender, Michael Hunter. Now, Michael Hunter is the son of a late Mike Hunter, heavyweight contender from quite a while back. I think people in South Africa might remember him. He fought Cecil Coffey over here, one of his very awkward heavyweights, and a very good fighter actually, but you always wonder why he never got further than he did, you know, a good fighter. But this is his son now, also a good one. And in that fight that was a draw, both had their moments, you know. But what I could see is Michael Hunter did give him some trouble, you know. He hit him with a jab, and especially in the first round, I think somewhere towards the end, that Povetkin really nailing him with those straight rights, simple straight right down the middle. Now, Michael Hunter is a quick heavyweight, he's a smaller heavyweight. And Povetkin traditionally has trouble against the smaller, quicker guys. Like years ago, he also had trouble with cruiserweight champion Marco Huck. So it's not necessarily an indication that he's over the hill. He's definitely faded a little bit. It's not the same Povetkin anymore. But I think he still is a very, very dangerous fighter. And Dillian Whyte is not the same kind of fighter as Michael Hunter. You know, Dillian Whyte is sort of a boxer, puncher. He fights flat on his feet. He comes at you, and both these guys have certain attributes that are similar. Dillian Whyte has a great left hook. We see how he knocked out Derek Chisora in the rematch, and but he can be hurt. You know, he lost to Anthony Joshua, and his only loss after wobbling Joshua as well, just like Povetkin. And since then, he's been a winning machine. He beat unbeaten Lucas Brown. Okay, Brown didn't look like much in the ring there. Still, he was unbeaten, so he must have had something. And then he beat Joseph Parker, knocked Parker down twice. First one courtesy of a headbutt. Second one was more of a clean knockdown. But there, at the end of a fight in the very last round, Parker nailed him and he almost had Whyte out, but Whyte survived till the final bell for his best victory. And he's been beating decent opposition. Whyte keeps finding a way to win. Now his nickname is the Body Snatcher, just like Mike McCallum before him. So he goes to the body. He has got good hooks to the body. I think the thing with Whyte is you can touch him. He does get hit. And just like Povetkin, he also doesn't have the greatest stamina. If he's under a lot of pressure and he really has to fight hard, he starts fading towards the end, like we saw against Joseph Parker. If he really is under pressure and he can't get the guy out of there. Oscar Rivas, another unbeaten heavyweight that he beat, also scored a knockdown against him. So Whyte can be hurt, and if you push him hard enough, he does tend to gas. Now Alexander Povetkin, like Whyte, he's got that left hook. He's got a really nice left hook that he snaps around, and that he even can use as a lead. He sort of slides in with it, throws that punch very, very well to the body too. And he also has a right hook, sort of a short looping short hook. So Alexander Povetkin, I think, is very dangerous here in the mid-range. That is where you don't want to be with Povetkin, where he can land those hooks on you, because he does have power, and he does have a power to hurt Whyte. Does Whyte have a power to hurt Povetkin? I think so, yes, if he can make him get tired later on. So the question is, it's two very similar sort of heavyweights, but Whyte's got the momentum behind him. Both has got quite a bit of wear and tear, have been in wars. Whyte, even though he's not as old as Povetkin, he has had some hard fights under his belt, Joshua Parker, and so on. So it is a fight that poses a danger for Dillian Whyte. There's some people who are picking Alexander Povetkin to spring the upset. But I think it's more Dillian Whyte's fight to lose this one. If his conditioning is up and down, but I think he'll be dialed in for this one. This would be a tragedy if he slips up now when he's finally so close to a title shot. So Povetkin needs to put the pressure on Dillian Whyte, pace himself well, and look for those hooks. He'll have to use all of his amateur experience to make sure he hurts Dillian Whyte early and makes him think twice before he does something. He needs to force a fight and get it on the inside. Dillian Whyte fights as you. He just needs to do what he always does. But there's one thing about Dillian Whyte: when he uses his jab, he's got proportionally. He's one of those guys who's got long arms for his torso. So his jab works very well because the guys think they are out of range, and then they get it in their face. So he needs to pop Povetkin with that jab all the time and set up his punches from there. If he's just going to try and do the rough stuff like he did with Parker when he went off his jab, he might get into trouble, because Povetkin is dangerous when you're too close to him with those hooks. But I think Dillian Whyte is a fresher fighter. I think Povetkin has had his days. I think it's going to be another typical Dillian Whyte fight where he's going to have to work hard for the victory. And I think Povetkin is going to have his moments. And I think he might hurt Whyte. He might put Whyte down with one of those hooks. But I don't think at 40, Povetkin, he seems to fight, he paces himself. I don't think he has that zip or that explosiveness left in the gas tank to really go after Whyte and stay on him and get him out of there. So I think Whyte will survive a few rough spots, and I expect him to just land the better punches and use his jab and just have a bit more zip to get over Vamp and win a hard-fought decision after 10 rounds. And what I think is going to be a pretty good heavyweight tussle there at the backyard of Eddie Hearn's home. So that's what I think. I think Dillian Whyte is going to get over the hurdle again in a typical Dillian Whyte knock him down, drag him out sort of fight. But he's going to have to be on his P's and Q's against Povetkin, who's always dangerous. Until we see each other again, keep those gloves up.